person in front of me right now is not a normal person.
That was never my goal. That was never my thing. It wasn't never to focus on the money. It was to be the absolute fucking best at what I do. The best. And I want people to look at me and say, I cannot do what that guy fucking does. That gives me joy. That gives me a sense of pleasure. And if you win, you get everything. And if you lose, you mean nothing. Success is an ongoing, day in, day out discipline, and it's more about how you live your day and your character that you're building and the person that you're becoming and the behaviors that you're adjusting and the habits that you're constantly practicing to be wealthy and successful versus the money itself. There's nothing that those guys are willing to do that I'm not willing to do, and there's nothing that they can learn that I can't learn. So if that's the fucking case, then why would I not want to compete with the absolute best? I'm in the hunting mode. Because I went in there and I reminded myself who the fuck I am.
Welcome to the We're Gonna Make It podcast, where we talk about the nitty-gritty tactics that underground entrepreneurs are using to build their businesses to the 7 and 8 figures. The goal of this podcast is to go into excruciating detail on the tactics and strategies that they're using right now, so hopefully you can implement it into your business and see more success. If you like tips like this, you can always subscribe to our free newsletter, but other than that, please enjoy the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, the person in front of me right now is not a normal person. This person is in the 0.001% of performers, and he has had exceptional results in his life at a very young age. If you want to be a top performing person, you absolutely must adopt this mindset. But Amir Zandifar, how's it going, brother?
Good, man. Thank you for the introduction.
Yeah, dude.
Appreciate it, man.
This is a long time coming.
I know.
We tried to line this up for a while.
I know. That's my fault.
Yeah, it's all good. We've been friends for a while, but I'm glad we get to finally do this. So this is going to be one of my favorite podcasts, mainly because if I had to put money on anybody to become a billionaire, you're like the safest bet in my mind. And your mindset and your like constant intensity, attack, everything you've gone about, how you've gotten to where you are is super inspiring. So I just want to give everybody some context. You're 27 years old now, but how old were you when you made your first $1 million liquid in your bank account?
It was 2 months before my 21st birthday.
So you were 20,
basically 21.
You were 20 years, 10 months old, and you had $1 million liquid in your bank.
Yes.
And this was from sales. We'll go into all of that here shortly. But I just want you guys to understand that how I describe Amir to everyone in my friends in real life is if there was a person that was going to be like a king of a 1500s, 1600s town, that is you. Because every aspect of your life, from how hard you hit the gym, what time you wake up, your habits, how you like keep people around you, how you learn, and how you attack business is just so dominant. And so
I appreciate that.
Everyone listening, really understand if you want to be successful in business, this person's mindset is exactly how you need to adopt and view your business. So let's start off when you were 20, because obviously you haven't made less than that. You made over $1 million when you were 20. You haven't made less than that per year since then. How are you able to dominate sales so quickly? And can you also share what industry it was in, if that's possible?
Yeah, the industry was the residential mortgage industry. Relentless studying. I mean, I'll kind of give you a perspective as far as what my sales like day to day would look like when I was selling mortgages at a pretty big firm in California. I would be up at 2:30 in the morning. I got a 24. I used to have an LA Fitness membership because that's where I used to sell gym memberships before I got into the industry. But I canceled it because I don't open up till 5 a.m. and that was too late. So I ended up getting a 24-hour gym membership. I got up at 2:30. I'd be in the gym by 3. Finish my workout till roughly 4 a.m. Shower. Go to the office. I would meditate for like 20 minutes. I had this little room in the company. Nobody was in the office that early either. There was only one other guy that I remember being there that early. And I would go in the room, meditate for 20 minutes, and then I would write down all my outcomes and goals and the things that I wanted to accomplish out of my day.
At 20 years old, you're doing this?
Yeah. But when I first started, I was 19. I was 19 when I first initially got in the industry. And then I would write down all the, not necessarily a to-do list, because I feel like that's what a lot of people make a mistake on, was most like the outcomes and results I'm looking to accomplish out of that day. I'd write them all down, and then I'd begin my sales day. And I always would have ear pods. So in between phone calls where I had a little bit of free time, I wouldn't talk to coworkers and socialize and do stupid shit like that. I would just put on different audiobooks and sales, and I would listen to them. I read books on the weekends. I'd dedicate my entire day Sunday just to studying. So I would wake up around 5, 6 in the morning, hit the gym, and I would go through hours of YouTube videos and different courses that I purchased and audiobooks and books. as many different mentors in sales and top salespeople that I could find and courses and things. And I holistically would study. And the biggest piece I also want to make a point to, because I feel like a lot of people make a mistake on, you got to read and you got to study. But there's a difference between reading a book just to read it, and there's a difference between reading a book with passion and with a focused mindset and results to get something out of it. I'm not reading books or studying things just to know stuff. So when I sit down and have a conversation with someone or shoot the shit at a bar, you sound like you know what you're talking about. I study it because I want to take 1, 2, 3 strategies out of my reading session that I can immediately apply and succeed and turn it into money, turn it into an actual outcome and result. So the approach to learning too that I would be doing, besides the fact that I would dedicate like 12, 13 hours on one day, and every single day in between I would study every single day, 7 days a week. So even to this day, I still study every single day, no matter what. It's one of the most valuable habits I've developed. But studying with intensity, with purpose, with it's different to passively study something versus actually engage into the studying session, really engage, to try to really understand what you're trying to get out of it, really try to not just know the stuff, but understand the stuff. Because I hear a lot of people too, they talk about, I read, I study, but if I take that book that you read and start going through chapter by chapter what you've learned, they won't remember. They're going to be able to recite to you 2 or 3 things. Oh yeah, the book was a really good book. It's a really good course. I learned this one general thing, where I would force myself to understand the big concept and then break it down to smaller pieces all the way to an actionable thing that I can do immediately, versus just studying and knowing concepts. It's really taking those big concepts you learn in a book and then breaking them down. Okay, how do I take this big concept? Okay, how do I apply it? What is my strategies of to do? What do I have to do? How do I have to change myself in order to do it? How can I practice and do it? So I would really take these big concepts I would learn and break them down from the top big piece all the way to the smallest pieces. That's how I would learn these concepts. So it wasn't just something that I could talk about or have a conversation with. It was something that I truly understood, and it was fully subconsciously understood for me. So when I'd get on the phone, I would do these things. They just came to me naturally. I knew exactly what was going on versus I just know some concepts, but I don't know. It's like, reading something about negotiation. Oh, I learned these 4 or 5 things, but you don't even apply them or do them.
Right.
You know it, but you don't understand it. And that's the big difference. I always try to do when I'm learning stuff is I want to understand. I don't want to just know.
Yeah, and that's how you're choosing the book to read. A lot of people will probably just watch a video on top 4 best business books, and it doesn't apply to their life. So you're intentionally what you're trying to learn as you're doing it, you will find a book specifically as you go.
Well, I actually have a concept for that.
Explain.
Which is, a lot of people talk about this as, I read books, I do this, I do that. And you look at their life and their business or what they're doing, and the stuff that they're reading has nothing to fucking do with what they're doing.
Right.
And I came up with this concept very early on that knowledge is not power. When people fucking hear saying this, knowledge is power, it's not power, because everybody knows what to do. You should work out, you should read, you should study, you should work hard, you should be a good person, you should donate money, you should do all these things, but people don't do their shoulds. They know what to do, but they don't do what they know. So knowledge isn't power. It's only potential power unless you take action. And knowledge alone is not the key to success. Is specialized knowledge. What is the information and knowledge that I need to know right now for the stage of life that I'm in, that knowledge can immediately turn into profits, success, and results. I didn't want to go read when I first started in selling, reading business books or understanding entrepreneurship or any of that, because it's not specialized knowledge. It's cool for me to learn and read, but random knowledge is not effective because it doesn't turn into profits. It's specialized knowledge about where am I right now and what is the knowledge and information that I need right now that can help me today to make money, to be successful, to move to whatever direction that I'm going to.
So much sense. And I've never had that much clarity. Really good mental framework for that. So now I want to ask you, that's how you learned sales. And you didn't just learn sales, you dominated sales. I'm sure it's not normal for that type of salesperson to make $1 million in a year, let alone consistently doing that. So how in the world, first off, why would you push it that far? Because most people make $30,000 in a month, think they're the shit and have fun and just kick back. How in the world are you waking up and just trying to maximize your sales skill, maximize dollar revenue day in and day out?
Well, I'm going to tell you something that probably a lot of people that you may have talked to would say opposite.
Okay.
I've always wanted to be wealthy. I've always wanted, and not so much necessarily because the money, you can buy cool shit with it. It was more, I knew with money you get power and you get control. And I'm a person that seeks to have control in my life, discipline in my life, and I know money provides quite a bit of that. But my goal was never money alone. It was always about the person that I'm becoming. I've always had a very big vision of who I want to become, even when I was a very, very young boy, of how I saw myself, a future CEO, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd only focus on the behaviors and habits and actions that I have to take in order to become that person. Because I remember when my father told me this a long time ago. He says, if you chase money, you're always going to be chasing. But if you chase success, the money is going to be chasing you. That's a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
And I know everyone talks about, oh, get the money, do this, focus on the money. And I feel like one of the biggest reasons why I didn't stop at the first million or chill or hang out and just kept on going, because like you even said, a lot of people make 20, 30,000 a month and they want to just go enjoy and chill and flex and, stroke their egos. That was never my goal. That was never my thing. It wasn't never to focus on the money. It was to be the absolute fucking best at what I do. The best. And I want people to look at me and say, I cannot do what that guy fucking does. That gives me joy. That gives me a sense of pleasure. That's why to this day I still get up at 3:30 every single fucking morning. Not because I have to, not because necessarily that makes me money. I wake up at 3:30. I can wake up at 10 a.m. and still make just as much money. But it's more about your character and the person that you're becoming, and intensely focusing on that has made far more money and profits and success for me at a much shorter period of time than if I was focused on the money. Because if I was focused on making 30, 40, 50,000 a month, I would have stopped a long time ago, and I would have just been satisfied with that. Because the second, once your target is a certain dollar amount, you hit it, then you get a little lazy. Then you get a little soft. Oh, I hit it. I achieved my goal. I worked so hard for this thing, and then I got there, and then you stop. Where I realized this early on, is success is an ongoing, day in, day out discipline, and it's more about how you live your day and your character that you're building and the person that you're becoming and the behaviors that you're adjusting and the habits that you're constantly practicing to be wealthy and successful versus the money itself. Because I've always wanted to be in a position that if I lose everything, I want to be able to get it all back immediately within a matter of just a few years. I don't want to be that guy. Exactly. That's why you see a lot of people that win lotteries, 100 million,
or something,
they go broke after a few years, because the money didn't change your behavior. You still have a broke person's mindset, but now you have all this money, and that's why you see a lot of athletes that make all this money and they end up going broke. Why? Because they come from poverty backgrounds. Did not have good money habits. They haven't really developed that part of their life, and their only ability is their physical and athletic ability. Get paid millions of dollars, but they still carry a little bit of that broke man's mindset, their relationship with money and successes, and that's why they end up going broke. So that's why I'll never really set my goal on the dollar amount, although money is a great scorekeeping way of figuring out where you're at and what level you're playing the game, but that's not the end-all goal ever. Because if that is the goal, then you'll end up, really getting soft.
It can't be the motivation.
It can't be the motivation, because it's an empty pursuit if your focus is just the money.
So let me ask you this. In my opinion, you're like just the definition of like small steps forward, making the right small decisions every single day, compound over time, and you just grow. Yeah. So, and I've seen this from observing you since we've known each other. You hold yourself accountable. Like if you slip up on something, you like intentionally punish yourself in a way where you make yourself go harder in a different like field of your life. So explain that thought process.
Yeah, so I mean, that's really funny that you said that, because it happened actually just recently.
I think that's what I'm probably referencing.
Yeah, it happened just recently too. I ended up getting a little off schedule. Some friends' birthdays, went out, partied a little bit, and got off of my sleeping. I got up like at 10 a.m. one day. I was like, what the fuck did I just do? Like, I was so pissed at myself. I ended up doing an insane workout, and I literally was like, I'm going to go into that gym. I'm going to make myself suffer and feel pain on an excruciating level. And the reason why I did it, and you talk about that, like punishing yourself, is like I had a stage in my life too where I accomplished a certain amount of money and then kind of started enjoying my life a little bit more and not really being on a tight schedule, military style routine. And I was getting all of the things I dreamed of as a little boy, girls and cars and homes and watches and all this stuff. But I was so unhappy. I couldn't really put my finger on it for a few months. But I was very, very unhappy, like vacant kind of a feeling. And I'm making more money than I've ever made before. And I'm getting all these fantasies that I had when I was a young boy happening in my life, but now I feel sad and empty and not as driven, not as motivated. And I realized this because I started practicing my, this is one of the biggest things people talk about when you get rich, you get access. If you start practicing your access to pleasure, to fun, to all these things, and everyone says, you got to live your life and enjoy your life in your 20s and all this bullshit. If you start practicing the enjoyments and the pleasures of life and the accesses that you have, it actually has a negative impact on your success because it makes you softer. When you don't have anything, right? It's easy to get up super fucking early and go do all of this shit and push yourself because you're trying to get out of the situation that you're in. But once you get there, and that's a lot of people don't realize, like, oh, what do I got to do to get there? Like, the real question is when you get there, it's easy to work hard and do all these things. But when you get there, what's going to make you keep going? What's going to make you be more even hungry with more money than you did when you had nothing? And I've found a way through suffering, especially in the gym, by just doing extremely, not working out, like especially when I do something wrong, I don't work out logically. I work out literally emotionally in a sense where it's almost counterproductive because this punishment session that I did, it took me out of the gym for 4 days. I couldn't lift. My muscle body would literally froze up. I had tennis elbows and it was like, I couldn't move. And it was counterproductive physically, you think about it, but mentally, abso-fucking-lutely not. Because I went in there and I reminded myself who the fuck I am and how much pain and discomfort I can fucking take and what kind of a guy I am. I'm in the hunting mode. I don't want to be, everyone talks about, you earlier said king. I don't want to be a king because kings sleep in silk sheets and get up late and screw around. I want to live a king's life, but I want to be a gladiator at heart. Where you're still fighting and going to war and have that warrior mindset. And for some reason, that whole warrior military style discipline structure, it just really resonates with who I am. It motivates me. And that's kind of worked for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody, but it's kind of worked for me of keeping my mind and my strategies sharp, my body sharp, is to constantly suffer.
Yeah, I mean, you're the definition of someone I could say is like the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Like the way you approach your business, the way you attack yourself at the gym, even the way you cold plunge. Like you are hyper competitive. You are going to make sure that you stay in the cold plunge longer than all of us. You're going to make sure that you become the best at whatever we do, even if it's like a little game like pickleball or something. Like you relentlessly learn and want to be the best and will work harder than everybody and put yourself through a crazy regimen just to achieve that. And so that's just something I've observed from you, and I just have no idea how, like, that's just like in you. Like I so admire it because it's not my nature at all.
Well, I give a lot of credits of things to my dad and the things he taught me. There's like a few things he taught me very early on that didn't really make a lot of sense when I was young, but like later on it made a lot more sense that he's like kind of subconsciously planned some of those things in my mind. One of them, for example, about the competition thing, he told me, he's like, the world is a competitive place, and in this world there, and I know this is a cliche thing, but my dad taught me step by step about this, is there are people that win and there are people that lose. And if you win, you get everything. You get all the prizes, everything that you want, all the control and power and money and wealth and pleasure that you want. And if you lose, you mean nothing. You're forgotten. You don't matter. So from a very early on, I've been obsessed with winning. Like you can't lose, because if you lose, you don't mean shit. You're nothing.
And you will take this to pickleball. You will take this to everything. You do.
Sometimes it's almost like counterproductive for some of the things I do, but I just can't help myself. This is just how I'm wired and who I am. The other things my dad really taught me too that constantly made me evolve is if you're the smartest person in a room and you're in the wrong room. And many people love, and I know we know some people that you know of, right? They like to be the smartest guy in a room, and they like to act like the smartest guy in a room, and they thrive on that, when in reality all you're doing is stroking your ego and your insecurities, and it prevents you from growing. And you always have to be around other people that are far better than you. And if you can't do them and find these people and physically, find them virtually and spend time with them virtually on YouTube. And I have so many mentors on YouTube. I know so many things about their life. They know nothing about my life, but I know everything about them because I look up to them. So the point of the matter is always being humble. No matter how good and well you do, you still haven't done shit, right? I know you were talking about me being at the pinnacle of I don't think so. I really think if for my mountain of success, everyone talks about the mountain of success. You're climbing the mountain of success. In my book, the way I view success for me, I have just arrived to the bottom of the mountain. I've been hiking and walking to get to the fucking mountain, and I just finally got to the mountain. That's the way I look at it.
That makes sense.
But for many people, it's like, oh, you reached the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, dude.
Because you see the perspective of the big players too, and you see yourself being there. It kind of pisses you off.
The thing that only reason why I do and say that is because this is my mindset. There's nothing that those guys are willing to do that I'm not willing to do, and there's nothing that they can learn that I can't learn. So if that's the fucking case, then why would I not want to compete with the absolute best? Because that's where all the information is. That's where all the success is. That's where all the true growth is when you can compete with the best people on the planet. That's where that's really what my goal is. I want to get to that very, very top of my business, not because I can buy more cars or homes and stuff like that. It's more of the kind of a person I am, the way I'm operating, and the people that I'm associating with and people I'm competing with. It forces me to be at the very, very best in the world at what I do. I don't want to be just okay or rich and have car. My goal has been be the best at whatever the fuck you do.
You are a different type of person I've ever met in my life, and it's like so hard to understand. But a lot of people are literally like, they can't even make $10,000 a month. They can't even make $5,000 a month, or they're 18 to 22, have no idea to possibly even grasp how to make their first $10,000, first $100,000. Like literally clueless. They don't know.
That's the problem right there.
Like, what advice do you have for those people?
That's literally the problem right there, because I'll break it down for you. Okay. So if you want to really figure out why they're not making it, especially in the world we live in today, it all starts with, and I remember I took this course with Tony Robbins, and he broke it down in a course very well, and it really made a lot of sense. And made a lot of sense where a lot of my drive also comes from too. It starts with, the first box is your belief. What you believe about yourself, your abilities, life, future is your beliefs. That's the first box. Second box is your potential, like how much potential you actually have as a human being. Okay. That's the second box. Third box is action. It's kind of actions that you're taking, the actions and things that you do. And the fourth box is your results, the results that you're getting. So if you're someone who has tremendous potential, like super smart, young, youth, you got everything on your side, but in your mind, you do not believe that you can be a millionaire. If you don't believe it, how much of your potential are you going to tap into? Very little of your potential. And if you tap into very little of your potential, what kind of actions are you going to take? Mediocre fucking actions. And when you take mediocre actions, what kind of results do you get? You get shitty results. And what does that do to your belief? See, I told you it's not possible. It reinforces that belief that, it doesn't work. But if you're someone who's got half the potential of this person, but you in your fucking mind believe you're going to be a billionaire, how much of your potential are you going to tap into? All of it. When you tap into all your potential, what kind of actions are you going to take? You're going to take massive actions. When you take massive actions, what kind of results do you get? You get fucking great results. And what does that do to your beliefs? Yeah, I fucking told you I'm a stud. I can do this shit. So it all starts with your belief, because the belief is the lens that you see the world through, the way you see and view the world.
What's an option for you?
Right. So if they haven't been able to figure out why, where, it's not because, you haven't taken this fucking course or you haven't done all these external bullshit. It's because you got to go into your own fucking mind and believe, what are my fucking beliefs? What are beliefs that are holding me back from making $10,000 a month? Because to make $10,000 a month in today's, there's a million different ways to make $10,000 a month. But if you don't believe that it's possible for you, or your beliefs aren't strong enough, or you're shooting for just 10 grand, that's probably why you're not getting it, because you should be shooting for $1 million and you make the 10 grand overnight. I always just break it down in math for me. For me to make $1 million bucks, yes, for example, when it comes to selling, right? For me to make $1 million, I'd say, okay, the $1 million is my target. I'm going to now, the same concept I do with studying books, let's take the big concept picture, let's break it down into simple, actionable steps. To make $1 million, I have to fund X amount of loans. For me to fund X amount of loans, I have to send to processing X amount of loans. I have to originate and close X amount of people. In order for me to close X amount of people, I have to present this many times each day. For me to present this many times each day, I have to take and talk to and prospect this many people each day. So I would work it down. Okay, perfect. Now I know how many people I got to talk to, how many I got to present, how many I got to close, and how many I got to fund in order to get my goal. So I'd break it down like that. Instead of who has done this, who gives a fuck who has done it? I'm going to be the first guy to do it. I don't give a shit. I know where I want to go and what I want to make. And I just break it down backwards of what I have to do. And I just get the job done. I don't complain about it. I don't care about it. I'm I'll do what, and that's
Through
another
sheer
biggest
brute
thing.
Force, you will hit
Yes.
those numbers. You will do that.
And
many
this is
calls.
another thing too. People talk about you got to love what you do. That's fucking bullshit. It's not about loving what you do. It's about doing whatever the fuck it takes to win. Winning is, if you ask somebody, an average person who truly isn't a winner, like what is winning? They're like, oh, glamorous. It's amazing. That guy's not a winner. If you ask true people, like real winners, what winning is, they're like, it's fucking brutal. It's disgusting. It's nasty. It's hell. It's like the devil. Because it really is. That's what you have to go through to win.
You walked in here a few days ago, and you just say, out of nowhere, you had to cough up a few $1 million out of a random fire that came up within a company. And so, like, that is just like the mental torment. You could wake up one day thinking you're on the path to greatness, and all of a sudden, $2-3 million hit, like just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
No, it's not. But you know what's really funny? When even to this day, when it happens, in a moment, I'm like, fuck. And then 30 minutes goes by, I'm like, man, what is the opportunity? I always try to take whatever the fucking bad shit that happens to me and turn it into an opportunity and figure out what can I learn from this and how can I use this situation to do far better in the future. So even that situation that happened, yes, it kind of like, even to this day, with how much discipline I've developed by practicing these mental practices and disciplines, it's still kind of like your natural reaction is like, fuck. But I don't spend there more than 20 or 30 minutes. After that, I'm already on to my actions. I already have 50 different fucking things that I'm going to do from this event that now is going to make far more than what I'm going to invest and make into it. So real calculation for me is don't spend more than 5 to 10% of your time worrying or talking about your problem. Spend the other 90-95% on the solution immediately. And most people, when they have a problem, they love fucking talking about it. And their friends, look at my problem, talk to my problem, see my problem. And misery fucking loves company, and everybody would love to talk to you about your problems. When it comes to strategy, actions, and successes, 90% of people will go away.
They can't even help you.
They can't even help you with it, you know? And people love talking about their problems. It makes them feel good.
They'll say the same
they
thing
feel heard.
to 4 people.
Yes. And it's all these weird societal, subconscious priming and subliminal things that happens in society, because that's how our friends are, and mother and father and people in school, and people pick these things up subconsciously, and it's all literally far away from becoming a successful person. So
How smart do you think you are? Like, if you had to like put the average IQ of every person, what percentile do you feel like you're in? What percentage of IQ level?
I actually took an IQ test 6 months ago. I got 137.
Okay, so that's pretty high.
But I don't like relying it on the IQ, because I know people that have higher IQs.
Yeah. And they don't make nearly as much money either.
No, not only that, their life is a shamble. Like they're unmotivated. They can't get out of the slumps that they're in. They're constantly running into problems. They just take 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. I think the biggest and the most important aspect to success is not your IQ. Is your self-awareness. Your self-awareness and situational awareness is what makes you successful, because you can have a fucking 200 IQ and not be able to fight your way out of a paper bag. Seriously. And you can have half that IQ and become tremendously successful because you're self-aware about what you're doing, how you're behaving, how you're spending your time, and how you need to adjust. If you're not aware, if you lack awareness, you're unable to adapt and change. You can be as smart as you fucking want, running east looking for sunset. It's not going to fucking happen. It happens by self-awareness, being aware of yourself, your behaviors, kind of having that ability to look at yourself from the outside. And by doing that, it allows you to change your behaviors, which when your behaviors change, so does your habits, and so does your results. So I credit majority of my success to self-awareness, not IQ or intelligence, because that's not what wins the day.
Okay, so you've lit up a huge idea in my head, and I actually can't stop thinking about it once it came to my head, is psychoanalyzing people. When you're talking about the VC side, you were talking about how like you need to understand the person. Is he a killer? Is he a killer? You're someone who has dozens and dozens and dozens of employees, huge team, and you're going into these like business partnerships every once in a while as well. So I know you're reading a book kind of on the like psychoanalyzing humans, and like reading people, understanding how they communicate. So I would love to this isn't even a question, this is open-ended.
Yeah.
How do you think about reading someone's true intentions? How do you think about hiring a specific person? Just overall human interactions? What goes through your head?
I have to strategically answer that because...
Do you think saying how you actually know about it gives away a part of your edge?
Yeah.
I worry about that too.
There are a lot of things. I'll give you like one example, right? I'll give you a few examples, okay? I'll give you a couple examples. I don't want to really like open up the whole book, but I'll give you a few examples.
That should just be a signal of how important this is.
For instance, if you want to get an idea, because one of the things that we have as human nature is envy. It just exists within people. So if you want to know if the people, partners, friends, girlfriends, whatever it may be, have any sort of envy around you, because you want to kill that shit immediately, right? What you do, if you have a suspicion that they do or not, but one of the things is you got to be very intuitive. I meditate a lot, so I pay a lot of attention to people's micro expressions, etc. But
so meditation is when you reflect on that.
Meditation is how I gain all that self-awareness we were talking about. Yes. And you see with the post I've done like over 1,200 sessions of meditations, almost 300 hours worth of meditations in the last few years. But the biggest key is, for instance, when we talk about the envy piece, right? If I want to know if someone's envious of me, whoever the person you suspect is, go share a really, really good news about something that happened to you. You can even lie about it. And when you share that really good news with them, you really want to pay attention to their eyes, their micro expressions on their face. You can tell, especially the eyes. The eyes always give it away. So if I share something really, really good, I can tell what a jealous eye looks like. I may have just lied to you about this good news, but I picked it up. And you do the same thing when you share bad news, something really bad that happens to you, and pay attention to their eyes and their face. That should always don't listen to what people say. Watch their micro expressions in the face.
I'll simulate a scenario where if there is somewhat of a jealousy that we're hiding behind the mask, unless you're literally a sociopath, you're going to give a little bit of the way. And as soon as I realize it, I'm like, cool, I just know now how to operate with this person, how to deal with this person. And same with people that genuinely love and care for you, they're really happy that you succeed. We share, you
can feel the
can tell the actual spot in their eyes, and especially the eyes. The eyes tell you the true spark that you're actually happy for. So that's like one little technique to do, to kind of learn about, is this the right person, the wrong person, right? Or is it a jealous person or envious person towards you? Because envious people can take you in.
Oh, that's the strongest.
But right, like things of that nature. Or, if you really want to get a deeper level of somebody that you're dealing with, is we're drinking, to take him drinking. And
I think
maybe you don't drink as much, you pretend to be drunk. I've done this a few times with certain people. And I specifically tell people, do watered down drinks. But you're not watering down their drinks. It's like, because once you start getting drink, your biochemistry changes, your blood drops down. I get to see a lot more. You're going to start really behaving the way you really are, as opposed to the mask. Everyone puts on a mask, even in relationships or friendships. Everyone kind of puts on a mask and they see you. And from time to time, that mask is removed by accident. But easiest way to do it is take him drinking. You don't drink as much. You kind of water your drinks down and let their guard get down.
I'm not blacking them out, but
and then start asking questions. Yeah, and I start asking questions. You get to really see the true side of it.
I've seen you do that, and I've seen you also take people out and show them a good time, like potential business partners and whatnot. So you're like really thinking about it at this level. Like if you want someone to like you, if you want to see who their true characters are, you're putting them in an environment where that will be brought out, instead of just asking, hey, are you a good person? That's not going to happen. They're not going to be a good answer.
Someone's going to tell you. There's another really good technique, for example, for, the you have partners and stuff like that, but you in business deal with, I always try to, depending on what kind of negotiations and stuff they're doing, I'll take them out, party. When they get there, they'll come in town for that. We don't even talk about business. Half the time at all. I call it during that thing. Take him to character. Like I'll take him at flight and at Trump or Will Fun Lower and introvert roles, hanging out with them, stroking their egos during this fun race day at night. And I'll leave the negotiations on the way to the airport. Because you're going to get scrambling to kind of agree to the end, give you enough time to count. Go back and forth. So I put you this fun, cool, with it off the grid. Your guard goes there. I leave the negotiations for the very, very end as you're leaving. So I can kind of get off. Like, these are just some small, I don't want to really share anything more besides that, but
no, I get it.
Some of those,
that's a
word. And that's so much sin.
So I refuse to believe your Instagram posting isn't.
You talk about this,
okay. Maybe we don't want to say this on camera, but
sure.
that's like a genuine thought. But
sure.
You don't post any other social media, but you post in your Instagram stories. The people that your Instagram following is not meant to grow your Instagram following, but it's specifically your employees, people who follow you, your close friends. You have a lot of employees. You're posting your morning routine, you're posting the time you're up, you're posting how hard you're going. Is that kind of in a way to get people to match that energy, to get the best out of your employees in a way?
Yes, that for sure has to do with it. The other piece has to do with it too. I always post and I watch it through up before the fuck around me. I also really, here's one of the things I remember, like, so if you want to make a lasting change, like, make a public statement about it. And I know when I start posting it, that there's going to be people, there's going to be a lot of fucking haters. Oh, this guy, you can't keep going like that every day. It's bullshit, burning yourself out. I know there's so many people that are just waiting for me not to get out, or waiting for me to stop, waiting for me to quit. That shit fucking pushes me. I really like that. I also like to ask if people look at me and say, fuck, I can never do what that guy does. It's like, these are things I'm finding to motivate myself at the stage that I'm sitting in today. I can stop that, oh, fuck, I'm broke, again, like hard. You know, now that I have the things that I want to, I gotta find different ways to keep myself on an edge or motivate myself. So the reason for sure is my employees know I'm always fucking working. I don't care if I'm the boss. No one's gonna fucking out. No one's gonna put in work, and I'm never gonna ask her to do something that I'm not fucking willing to do myself. Besides that, I also love the fact that I have fucking haters that want me, that pushes me, motherfucker. Another fucking day, I beat your ass. And also, people that get inspired. I already have probably 5 or 6 people that are now getting up super early, also post. Yeah, I love to see that good wave of positive energy for other people to do too. So there's multiple reasons of why. I wouldn't even know how to post them, but now that I've already started a trend, it's like, I like to, even if I don't post a full story day, I'll still post very much. So just so you know, just so you know. I like it. I'm a competitive guy. And so if I don't have, I'm not competing with anyone. If I get top in a company, I like to just kind of create these different types of mental competitions because myself.
That's really important though, because it's almost like that's also another external motivator, another external part holding you accountable to keep performing at a very high level. It's like Michael Jordan, like taking everything personally for no reason almost. Like being that competitive mindset, always everything you're doing, and making sure everyone around you is better, so then that energy is just spread around your full company. Like, it makes so much sense. It's super smart. So
did you have to do anything that like, because I feel like that's not something that just anybody can even start, even if they had the money. So were you objectively using the sales process to learn that business? And then you had that prize seemed attainable. You said to network with the right people, save up the right amount of capital.
And I have full confidence in myself. I'm a very obsessive person. So I was preparing before even starting it for 2.5 years of studying.
Oh my God.
Of, studying leadership, studying business, studying profit and loss, studying marketing, studying.
Did you go to college?
No.
So
I went for like a year and a few months in a community college and dropped out.
And just learned through action, but then
all self-taught.
You knew that you were doing well. You knew that you had to save up this amount of time. You knew it was going to take you 2.5 years. So you were mentally teaching yourself the lessons you would need to then run a business, which means hiring people, leading people, managing a team.
Yes.
So intentional, so interesting. So like you just knew you were going to own a business with dozens of people. So I need to learn these skills while I'm actively making that a reality, because it was such a clear path for you. Wow, that's so interesting how we're like tying it all down.
But I think this is the thing about it.
You practiced your potential. Wow.
Well, I think this is the biggest thing about it, right? I think one of the biggest reasons for that, because you're like, well, how did you plan all these things in advance? How were you thinking about all these things? I think it's very important that as a human being, you spend some time really developing a greater vision, not goals, not milestones, not things, but a vision of who you want to be and where you want to be 10, 20, 30 years later. It's got to be a vision. It's got to be a vision that inspires you, that you want to get out of bed and go work towards. And I think all your goals, milestones, and things that you do are now just stepping stones toward the vision. So when you talk about how was I thinking about these things before, because my vision from the very get-go was get to the very top of the game. In order to do that, I had the vision that was driving me and my actions, and all the milestones and goals that I would set would be fulfilling that vision. Not so much thinking about this next goal or this next thing. That's how most people look at it, and they don't have the ability to anticipate. It's always about the vision at first, I've always approached everything, even studying,
So-
even everything. It's like, what's the big picture, and then what are the milestones and goals
It's
I
like
have
an
to hit to
upside down
get there?
pyramid almost.
Always.
Like start with sales, make a lot of money. Then acquire one of these businesses, make a lot of money. Figure that out, then make 4 more, scale wider.
Yes, I already have the next 3 moves of what
yeah,
I'm going to
but
do.
each level requires a different strategy in a way.
Yeah, totally different skill
You
sets.
can prepare for it.
Yes,
Whoa.
each level requires a totally different skill set and a totally different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different. And each skill set is precious on its own, but
Yeah.
it requires a totally different skill set and a
Yeah.
mindset, right? If you're running
You don't do any sales anymore.
Exactly. If you're running an 8-figure business to get to 10 figures, it's a totally different skill set, totally different mindset than it is to be at 8 figures or 7 figures or 6 figures. So I've always had the vision of where I want to go, and I've really set the milestones. Even right now, I already have the next 4 or 5 years planned of the things and actions and things that I have to have done for my next step.
Huh.
So, but why is that? Because I already know what my big picture is and where I'm
Right.
going. I just know what the next stage of it is, and I work one at a time.
Yeah, it's almost like the version of college. You did 4 years of sales, and that was like your college degree. And then you did 4 years of actually running the business. That's like your master's degree. And then you did 4 years of this, and that's like your PhD. But instead of in the context of entrepreneurship and business and making hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Huh. So ultimately, that this level of intentionality and being conscious of that is how you've resulted in this today. But even just boiling it down to small daily tasks, because that's the high level decisions, that small daily task of I need to do this many sales calls. So that leads you to then, because people are going to be like, I struggle with discipline. I can't read books. I always want to eat unhealthy, or I can't wake up early. But since you have that bigger vision, and that trickles down to you having these specific, I need to do 20 sales calls, close 8 of them to make $1 million. Well, if I party tonight, I'm not going to be able to do that. So I'm not going to party. And then that way, if I eat healthy, if I work out, I'm more mentally clear. So that reverse order helps you stay disciplined on the basic stuff in a way.
Yes, and here's another thing that you kind of said that just lit up something in my mind. You know, I can be disciplined, or I can wake up early. It's not, here's the reality of it, right? It's not hard to be disciplined at all. What's hard is eliminating distractions. It's not hard to wake up early. It's hard to be disciplined to go to bed early, because it's the same amount of fucking sleep you have to get. If I get up at 3 versus you get up at 10, you look at how much we slept, it's going to be about the same. I sleep 5.5 hours, maybe 6 hours a night, and you can get up at 10 a.m. or 5 a.m. or 7 a.m., whatever, and I get up at 3, but I'm getting the same amount of sleep. So it's not hard to get up early. What's hard is going to bed early.
Yeah.
It's not hard to be disciplined. What's hard is eliminating distractions. So maybe the reason why you can't be fucking disciplined or can't get up early, because you're looking at it ass backwards.
Yeah, because
that's
people
why
are going to invite you to dinner at 8 p.m. to drink. You stay up an extra hour, 2 hour late, then you sleep in longer. That ruins your whole next day.
Yeah.
Where you're eliminating the need to practice willpower because you're saying, no, I got to be to bed at 8 p.m. so you don't get tempted to do that. Then you sleep. Then you're up at 3 a.m. No one's fucking distracting you for those 6 hours. So it's just you against you trying to accomplish your goals, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, and I choose those hours very carefully too, because I know from 8:30 in the morning at night to 3:30 in the morning, between 8:30 to 3:30, if you look at the United States and all the activities that take place between 8:30 to 3:30 is mostly degenerate, unproductive activities for the most part. And I'm not saying every person. And from 3:30 to 8:30 is usually all the productive stuff that's happening in society. So I chose those hours very carefully. I was like, the hours, because you talk about people invite you to dinner. Well, guess what? I'm going to be fucking sleeping when you invite me to dinner. So I don't even have to. How do I eliminate my distractions? I set up my schedule this way.
And they know that eventually too.
Yeah. So I set up that schedule even strategically that way. So the hours that fuckery is going to happen, I'm sleeping. You can't even invite me to anything. So I don't even leave the temptation of wanting to hang out with people or seeing friends or whatever, maybe that who's in town, because I'm sleeping. So I eliminated the distraction to begin with. You can't even hit me up.
Okay. I kind of want to take the conversation a completely different way, because I know you do. Every once in a while you will let it out, and you let it out hard when you party. But I kind of want you to focus more so and talk about just like one last time, because it seems really straightforward, like the way you break it down. But that is kind of the beauty of it, of how simple it is. You have really high level goals. If you want to hit these goals, you have to behave this way. And if I don't schedule my actual life the right way, it inhibits me to actually hit those goals. So I need to go to bed at 8 so I don't get distracted. Then I wake up at 3:30 so I have full focus time, and I'm awake when everybody else is awake. Is there like a high level like is there truly an end goal for you? Is there truly something that like you in your back of the mind like really have it, like if I accomplish this, this is what I'm doing, or this is just like straight up an infinite game?
There is, for sure. I already have like goals and things that I want to do past 60. So yeah, there is.
Past 60?
Yeah.
How did you like?
There's a certain amount of wealth that I want to acquire, and when I'm in my 60s for the remainder of my life, I already have plans of what to do.
What is that desired outcome? You don't have to tell me like what the goals are or anything, but like why?
Well, I'll give you one of them. One of the biggest things that I want to do is really, because I'm not going to be one of those guys going to leave billions of dollars for kids. One of them is I really want to spend the last 20, 30 years of my life, whatever it may be, really doing things to help society, whether that's through helping elect certain individuals and supporting certain politicians or power brokers or, et cetera, on the political side, as well as charities and donations. I don't want to just write a check. I actually want to go see what we're doing, who we're helping, and really see the fruit of my labor, because I really care about what people say after I die, not so much when I'm alive. And I want to spend that last quarter or so of my life to really try to help shape the society in the right way by helping the people that need help through charity, philanthropy, things of that nature, and through influencing politics.
Most people are just going to complain about problems on Twitter. I can't believe these people did this. Oh, someone should help starving kids in Africa. You are like literally living the path to get enough resources, enough power, enough influence where you can have a say and imprint your perspective on the world.
Complaining is not a fucking strategy. So you can sit there and complain all you want.
Something's not fair.
Yeah, oh, this and that. I can't believe this guy did that, or I can't believe these guys are doing this to our cities and to our politics and all this stuff. Complaining is not a strategy. The only thing that you can do is play the same game they're playing, is acquire just as much capital and counter that worldview of the way they see the world, and you can
with your resources, your assets.
Exactly. You got to play the game. People always talk about you got to fucking leave the matrix and you got to escape all this bullshit. You can't fucking escape anything, dude.
Yeah.
You're stuck in this fucking game. Even the only way to escape it is to go to Mars. You can't. You have to leave the planet. You can't escape anything, because as long as you exist and you even have money in your pocket, which was created by the matrix, right? You're never going to be able to escape anything. So for me, it's like if you, instead of trying to escape stuff, is learn how the game works and find a way to counter things you don't like.
Yeah, because
that's it.
No matter, even if you make money, if you don't have any money and you're aware of the whole matrix attack stuff, you're still screwed. No matter how aware, how much you know, and even if you know who it is, you're still screwed because you have no influence, no money, no power, no leverage. So even if you have money, you still might not have the right information and can be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So you still don't escape the matrix with tens of millions of dollars. But then you kind of have to be literally at the level financially, network, and like actual pure assets where you can make an imprint and kind of fight. So you're in that conversation. Is that what you're saying? Yes,
that's exactly what I'm saying. So instead of you, I agree with you in the fact that if you have tens of millions, you're still not safe if you're trying to escape, whatever the fuck you're trying to escape. You're not escaping anything. You're in this system. This is the way it is. I look at it as a fact of nature, not something that I look at and say, I can't believe this is this way or that way. This is just the way the world is and how it works. I look at it objectively. And if there are certain things I don't like about it, then I have to go out there and fix it. In order to fix it, I need to acquire a certain amount of capital and power and influence in order to go do that. So I'm going to just work my life to get to that level. And when I get there, I'm going to do the things that I have in my mind at that time and execute it.
And you have to play the game.
You got to play the game.
You have to literally play the game of the matrix. That's interesting.
I don't even like to use that term matrix. It's literally, it's like this it's the system that we live in, right? It's the system that we live in. You have to look at it as a fact of nature. Don't hold any emotional baggage to it. Look at it as a fact of nature objectively. And if there's things you don't like about it, go fix it. That's it. And in order to go fix it, you got to become a bad motherfucker and do a lot of hard work and figure a lot of things. 'Cause there's nothing harder than acquiring capital. It's the hardest thing to do. You can sit there and complain all you want, or you can be the guy who goes and changes and makes that happen. And I want to be one of those guys. I'm willing to dedicate my entire life, because this is like my life. I don't mess around. I don't have any other thing besides the goals and dreams and things that I'm working on. So I'm dedicating my entire life to it. And I know anything that anyone else can do, so can I.
So you separate your beliefs, your I should do this, those feelings that you have, and then just objectively, like, no matter how shitty this is or how evil this may seem, that is the reality of the world. And if I want to beat it, I have to play this game in a way or level up myself to then fight that, essentially.
Yes,
That's, like,
I mean,
high level.
you are playing the game whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
If you're in it,
Whether you're conscious of it or
are
not.
you going to go buy food? You pay taxes? You drive a car? Like, you have money. Money is created by the system anyways, as it is, right? That you go do things with. You're in this game. There's nothing you can do about it. My thing is play the game instead of hate the game. Play it. There are people and situations and entities out there that are doing things that are not good, and you can go out there and counter that, or you can sit around and just be a victim in the corner and just be the person that shit happens to instead of the guy or girl who makes shit happen. So it's just a different mindset. I don't know. It's just something I've wired my mind with. When I start feeling pleasure and enjoyment and comfort and kind of letting loose, I start to fucking get super paranoid and freak out.
Yeah, I think you're the only person I've ever gone out to a club with, and then on the way home at 2:30 in the Uber, we're all in jeans, nice clothes, and you're like, boys, we're hitting the cold plunge.
Yes.
And just, you literally just were having the time of your life, and then you immediately get out there, now you're just pissed off, and you're like, we're going to the cold plunge, we're fixing this right now, and we just tortured ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
It's so interesting.
Somebody was to look at that and they're like, these people are fucking
It's like
crazy.
literally the more you have fun, the harder you will go the opposite immediately, right when that switches off.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Because I feel like I just got behind a little bit. So I got to make up for it.
Like you slipped up now or
Yeah,
something.
Even like that thing I was telling you about, like I go and torture myself in the gym. I feel like, man, I got up late at 10 a.m. that day, didn't hit the gym because I was kind of hungover. So the next day I'm going to extra punish myself because I feel like I missed out. I feel like I wasted a day. I got to make up for it.
That is so
Although I ended up fucking taking myself out of the gym for 4 days because I was so
'Cause you hurt
broken.
yourself, yeah.
But like mentally, I'm like, I got to go do this. So
the average person is so the opposite. They're like, oh, I'm hungover. Now I'm going to get fast food. I'm going to sleep in. We're going to watch a show all day. I'm going to recover, and then I'll be great tomorrow. Where you're just like,
fuck that.
power
No.
through the wall.
Yes, because I like, and I even tell my guys all the time too, my vice presidents and leadership in the company and, people and employees in the company, being successful is a state of mind.
Yeah.
It really is. There's a particular state of mind that you can look at someone and say, that motherfucker is a winner by just the way they carry themselves, the way they walk, the way they talk. And success is a state of mind that you need to be in. And when when you feel hungover, I'm out of that state and I feel it and I don't like it. I'm like, this is not the state of success. I got to hop back. I got to be in that state as long as fucking possible. So that's why I get up at 3:30. I hit the gym hard. I go to the cold plunge. I meditate. I read. I write down my goals. 4 or 5 hours of personal development before I even get to my office. Why do I do that? Is because it's constantly putting me in this state of mind of, first of all, getting up at 3:30 puts chips on your shoulder. No motherfucker is doing that shit, right? And then going through the things I put myself through even gives me more chips on my shoulder, more confidence. No one's fucking doing this shit. I fucking do this. And it puts me in the state of fucking winning. So when I go into execute business, it may look like magic or this person is so smart, where in reality I've just managed and mastered my state. I know what the success state of mind is, and I'm constantly staying in that state and doing and having rituals and habits and structure in my day to constantly keep me in that state. And when I get out of the state and relax and chill or get hungover, I feel like absolute garbage because I'm not in that state. I got to immediately get back into it because momentum is key, and you don't want to lose that. And and it makes me, I'm almost running around paranoid about it all the time because I know winning and success is not something that you get to a place and then you're good. It's an ongoing thing forever. And the moment you stop, everything goes fucking down, regardless of what level you're playing the game at. So I'm always paranoid about that, and that's kind of why I do what I do.
Yeah, I mean, seeing your stories every morning of your personal trainers, Instagram stories of you just laying down on the floor, just dead on, like, spread out because you just worked out so hard,
Yeah.
like you can't
Love
even
it.
walk.
I fucking love it.
It's every
I love
morning
it.
at 4 a.m. I'm just like, this dude is built different.
I love it.
There's
I literally, excuse my language, I get horny for it. Like, I love that shit, man. I love that feeling of just leaving it all in the fucking field every single day. And honestly, if you want to master your fucking life, you want to master everything, you got to master the 24 hours. I literally have broken it down. And you look at my fucking calendar, I even show you right now, like every single thing, including my morning rituals, my night rituals, what I do in between, literally. Wake up.
Oh my God.
I literally have it. You can even read it, right? 3:30, motivational / inspirational videos for 30 minutes. 4 to 5 a.m., hit the gym. 5 to 5:30, shower and eat quickly. 5:30 to 6, meditation. 6 to 7, read. 7 to 8 o'clock, hit the sauna, cold plunge, stretch, plan and execute your day in writing. And then boom, after 8 a.m. starts, is the rest of my day and everything else that I do. Everything is literally after this, I got another appointment. So everything is on calendar.
That's like your work day.
It's my work day, my morning routine, night routine, everything is on there and it's all structured. So
Explain
that's
the
kind of how
thought
you do
process.
it.
That's 6 hours in the morning of not working. So explain that thought process on why that's so important.
Because working on yourself, you have to work harder on you than you do in your business. Period. End of story. That's how you become super wealthy. That's how you evolve your business. That's how you level the fuck up. It's not you working super hard at what the fuck you do in your business. Is you got to work harder on you than you work on your business, because your business is really you. It is. The chokehold of any business is the leader at the end of the day. So my concept has always been work harder on you and your personal development than you do in your business. And if you work harder on you than you do in your business will succeed in tenfolds. Then you go put all that time working hard in the business, but you're not really taking care of those personal, mental, emotional, physical developments that you need to do in order to become the higher level person that operates at a higher frequency, that executes at a higher frequency. When they fucking do things, it fucking happens. Their execution is super strong. Not that they're just taking a bunch of action, not getting the fucking results they want. So my concept is always work harder on you than you do in your business. Always. It's
like,
just worked for me.
If you knew how to make $10 million, you would be making $10 million. And so the biggest opportunity cost is not having that information in your brain. And you don't just get that information by working on a small business every day. You need to actually take conscious time to learn different thought patterns, different opinions, different insights from history. So one thing I've always really valued, and I've benefited a lot from, I don't even know if you know this, but Brandon sends me your YouTube playlists on like how you learn, and you've like categorized these different YouTube playlists that you've been like literally building since you were 18 years old. And so we can like scroll through and see all of the videos you watch to learn that way.
Yeah.
So can you kind of explain that and kind of give people like a foundation of how you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of different, I'll kind of give you some examples. There's YouTube, which I have like personal development, politics, strategy, AI, human brain, sales, entrepreneurship, spirituality, meditation. I have different categories, motivation. I have different categories that I've developed for videos and things that I've learned. That's just off of YouTube. I created my own playlist, but I also have Masterclass that I go through and
like masterclass.com.
Masterclass.com. I have pbs.com. We learn about a lot of political stuff, and I actually really love watching political documentaries.
That's a part of your 45 plan.
Yes, and I really like the way, and I like to understand how the whole game works, not just the business side, but also the government side. Even on Amazon Prime, right? Like the men who built America. Like I have developed all the different content platforms that are out there. I've gone in and I've tried to search for new videos that are related. And I remember Kobe Bryant said this in an interview one time, and it's so fucking true. It's like when you know exactly who you want to be and you have a vision of who you want to be and what you want to do, the world becomes your library. You walk around, any conversation you have with people or something you look up or you look at or think or talk to, or even a conversation you have with an Uber driver, it's all designed for you towards the goal and the direction that you're going, as long as you know where you're trying to go. So I've ended up taking every single content platform, because I know there's content on certain platforms that I don't have on the others. Yeah. And I've just spent hours and hours trying to search for these, watch the documentary, see which one I like, which one I didn't like, and I've saved all of them in different categories. So all my learning is virtually done, and it's just, a lot of it is on YouTube, but I also have, Amazon Prime. I have a lot of different documentaries there. Hulu, I have documentaries there. Netflix, I have documentaries there. And it's always documentaries. It's never fucking... And
you save them. Like, I find that interesting that you save them in a, like, categorized playlist.
Oh, even with my, like, when I was... Because not only that, I also watch and learn. And the other thing that most people do is like, I watched a YouTube video. Okay, I watched a YouTube video, but I also have a pen and paper and a highlighter. And I'm pausing the video and I'm writing down, and then I highlight it. And I get personal. So not only I listen and watch or read, I also highlight and take notes on top of it to really deepen my learning. And then in addition to it, I end up teaching other people, and as a result of teaching the stuff that you learned, you even sink it for you even deeper. So I really take the whole learning approach, not just sit back, smoke some weed, and lay on bed and watch something. I'm drinking coffee, sitting upright, pen and paper, taking fucking notes, engagedly learning and writing notes as I'm going. So at the end of it, I'm like, all right, boom. Like even the show Billions, you know, we talked about that. I have 18 pages of notes, front and back,
TV show?
front and back. Yes.
What?
And I still go through seasons again, and I still pick up 2-3 more things. There's been at least 5 things I've learned from it that I've even applied. There's this technology called NLP, neuro-linguistic
I've read it.
Processing. And I learned about it in the show Billions, found the company that offers that service, and we've been applying it to what we're doing on the phone calls. And it studies the phone calls and understands the behind the textures. AI, So like even a show that I watch, it's still, I'm taking fucking notes. I'm not just watching just to watch like a brain fart, you know?
I mean, I've been over to your place and we're all just like hanging out and talking, but just in the background, just passive, just motivational, or like David Goggins, like mindset. So like that, you have that, even when you're passive, you have that like absorbing in your subconscious.
Always.
But if you're actually watching, consuming content, it is like being made sure it's intentionally remembered, noted, what's important is rewritten out. That's interesting. So those YouTube playlists are basically a course in and of themselves, and it's all for free. But do you consume like TikTok or Instagram, social media or anything?
Instagram, I probably spend maybe 35 minutes a day on Instagram. Usually with Instagram, I post and I get out. I don't like scroll through and mess around on Instagram. And if I do, is like a couple times a week, maybe for like 30 minutes, you know, and because I look at how much time you spend, it shows you your screen time or whatever. It's usually 35 minutes. And that's maybe a couple days a week. The rest is if I go in there is intentional. I make a post, I get the fuck off of it. I don't want to get sucked into the algorithm, and I definitely don't have TikTok now.
Because I think that's dangerous that you don't have control of what you're consuming when you just like swipe up like that.
No, their algorithm's good. Because even you consciously know what it's designed to do, you still get sucked into it.
Right.
Even the documentary Social Dilemma, they're like, the guy were like, he's like, we are working on this during the day and I'm falling prey to it at night, and I know exactly what I'm building. That's how good that is.
It's like a slot machine.
Yeah.
It's like made to addict you.
Yes.
It's a hack. So that's super dangerous to just allow yourself. You don't even want to have it on your phone because then it's like you can't control yourself. So then why do you post on Instagram when you do? Like, I feel like, just going to say this, like, you are one of the most successful people, very high level performer. And so YouTube kind of lacks that. So I feel like you could easily have a large platform on YouTube. And so like, does that just not align? Is there a specific strategic reason why you haven't like attacked it the way you've attacked everything else? Or is that in due time, maybe when you're like 35 or something?
There is. You know, one part of it is, you know, I don't want to ever half-ass anything. I understand the type of work
that's for sure
that it takes to really be successful, especially on YouTube. And the other piece of it is, I've always told myself this too, I don't want to be just some talking head, you know, like on YouTube just talking. I like to build an empire first that speaks for itself, undeniable, and then I'll spend some, at that point I don't have to really try to build the YouTube, it'll just get built on its own when I start it. And I feel like I'm a student of the game. I'm only 27 years old. I got a long way to fucking go. The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know shit. And the more I achieved, I realized I haven't achieved shit. I got to do far more. Where you think you kind of feel the opposite. You feel like, oh, I'm doing more. The more I do, I'm like, fuck, I got to do way more. What was I doing fucking a year ago thinking about this shit? I got to double down. So I feel like right now, just the stage I'm in, I don't even see myself. I know, and I really appreciate your kind words. I don't even see myself for the level that I want to be at, that I'm even close to. So I just don't feel comfortable giving, and I feel like, yes, the advice I'm going to give can probably help a lot of people out there, right? But I just don't feel like I'm ready for that yet. Not the success that I desire before I want to go out there and speak and teach and coach and share strategies.
Because it wouldn't even really grow your business objectively.
No, it's good for networking. It's good for
like
PR.
Your business's bottom line, the one you have right now, it wouldn't really correlate. Okay, that makes sense.
And at some point, I'm for sure going to do it. I also know I have the personality for it too.
Yes, you do. 100%.
But it's one of those things I don't want to first half-ass. I don't want to be just a talking head like many people we fucking know. And a lot of people have this issue, especially on YouTube, that they put their money in something and it blew up as a result of the age of easy money, and they acquired X amount of capital. All of a sudden, because they have this money, they think they're a master and they're should go out there and teach. And because you made an X amount of money, that didn't make you that much smarter. It didn't make you that much better. You just had an X amount of dollars that went into your bank account. And it usually just hits people's ego that they think, oh, I'm this and I'm that, and they think they're the master now. Where in reality, I'm sitting in a position, I'm still thinking I'm a student. I am not a master. So I should just focus and double down on my learning before I'm ready to teach other people, anything.
It might be a signal that they have good decision making, but there's also luck involved in that. So
Is there anything else you have a passion to share about, you think? Because we're pretty much at the 1 hour, 50-minute mark.
No, I think this was good. I think there's a lot of value. Hopefully people will get out of it.
Oh, that was great.
But, it's been a pleasure.
In fact,
It's a long time coming, man.
dude, that was amazing. Everyone listening to this, again, I'm sure you picked up on the energy, but this is someone who's going to be, in my opinion, at the top of the world in due time. So watch this over multiple times. Watch this 2 or 3 times to really absorb what he was saying. Because a lot of the little details, the way he's framing himself, the way he's putting himself in positions to continue to be great, to have to force himself to work harder, to punish himself after he slips up, just to reinforce that behavior that he wants, to be that person that he wants. Even how he framed his whole career strategy, starting with where you want to be. If you want to be there, then you lead this. If you want to do this, you have to break it down to daily tasks. And if you want to perform those daily tasks, then you have to have good habits, or else you'll never reach this, you'll never reach that goal, you'll never get to where you want to go. That's really important. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. Amir, appreciate it, Sash.
Thank you. Thanks.
That was dope, dude.
It was good.